guys, it's Britt. Tonight we're here to talk about Gypsy Rose and her release from prison. I already made an initial video about this, but today what I want to do is kind of bring the other side of the conversation to my channel so that we can talk about it. I've been seeing quite a few interesting opinions and we're just going to go through them. So if you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so as I said, I already made my initial video sharing thoughts about Gypsy Rose being released. I thought that it was, lovely that she was coming out into the free world with so much support and people backing her. And while I like to see somebody like her have the support that she needs, I also think that throwing her into this limelight of being sort of an overnight sensation is, or could, I don't want to say is, it could be damaging to her adjusting to being a functioning member of society outside of prison. And I do kind of worry about that. I worry about all of this. Just, she has like over 6 million followers on TikTok already. She has a whole PR team. She has a publicist. She is going on podcasts. She's doing interviews. She's, just the content machine is machining. And I wonder how that is going to play into her mental health. How is that going to play into her marriage? How is that going to play into her overall well-being as far as just being able to go to the grocery store or go run errands, now that she's out? The safety aspect of it to me is also a key topic that I think about a lot. And while there are a lot of people who really like her, there are a lot of people who either never liked her from the start, or they see the amount of attention that she has been getting in the past couple of weeks and are kind of over it. So I want to share that side of the conversation today. The first video we're going to watch is from a TikToker named Local Monster. And she said, "I'm sorry, but this is how I feel about Gypsy Rose." So let's just start at the top. It's a just over 4-minute long video, and I will insert my thoughts throughout.
Kris Jenner works hard, but Gypsy Rose's PR team works harder. Am I the only one noticing the mass manipulation that's going on right now? Am I the only one that sees Gypsy Rose's red flags? Can we not acknowledge that maybe they're making her out to be America's fucking sweetheart because it makes a whole lot of people money? I'm not saying that Gypsy Rose isn't a victim, because she absolutely is, but this shit is not black and white. Nothing is black and white. And this is a perfect example of how you guys will take something and run with it before utilizing your critical thinking skills. And I need you to understand that this is coming from somebody who experienced an entire childhood of extreme abuse, who's diagnosed with CPTSD. I don't know about you, but despite everything that I've been through, I still would not be able to stomach being responsible for the murder of anyone or somebody's life sentence in jail. Let's get into all the red flags that I'm talking about.
I've heard a lot of people over the last several days when I've been kind of on this side of TikTok of people that are delivering criticisms and or concerns regarding Gypsy Rose. And the one thing that I heard somebody say that it kind of planted a seed in the back of my mind is that somebody, and it might be her, but I've watched many videos about this, but somebody said, Gypsy Rose was on her laptop communicating for almost 2 years with Nick, videoing, chatting, emailing, all of this communication that she was having with Nick leading up to the crime. And not one time was that laptop used to correspond with somebody that could have helped her with her situation. And I realize that's a really, really hot take. And I don't want to say, well, this is what I would have done, because I don't know what I would have done, because luckily I've not been in her situation. But that part was interesting. You're talking to this person for 2 years, and I also realized that she said before she tried to run away, and Dee Dee ended up chaining her to the bed and putting bells on the doors and all of that kind of stuff. So I also recognize that side of it. But it was just one of the many things that I heard. And that kind of planted the seed of like, well, that was a lot of time. And she was definitely able to communicate a whole lot with the person that she wanted to communicate with. So I'm not saying that I completely agree with it, but it is just one of those things that was kind of like one of the things that stuck with me, if that makes sense.
Number one, if she had access to a computer and a phone, you're telling me that she didn't even try to advocate for herself in any other way before plotting the murder of her mother? Nick has multiple mental handicaps. He is autistic. He's diagnosed with other disorders, I believe multiple personality disorder, and he has an IQ of like 27, guys. And despite all of this, Gypsy insisted that he do this. She mailed him the knife. She wouldn't let him enter the home until he was wearing gloves. She manipulated this man into doing her dirty work for her, and she was fully aware of what she was doing. And
this is a part that I do not agree with, because Nick is not a good person, and that was very well documented long before this crime took place. So in this conversation of people sharing the other side of things with how they feel about Gypsy, I also don't like to hear people kind of giving Nick a little bit of not a pity party, I don't want to say that, but they do kind of excuse it just a little bit because of who he is. But he had issues long before this crime took place.
let's not forget that Gypsy was tested and she has no developmental delays. Am I saying that Nick is a good person? No. Do I think that her mother was a good person? Absolutely not. She was also abused and became the abuser, but she still deserved to rot in jail, in my opinion. I will be the first to tell you that I learned all my best tricks from my master manipulator of a mother, and I believe Gypsy did too. But I am also highly sensitive to manipulation because of this, and I have had a bad feeling about Gypsy from the start. Do I believe that Gypsy should not be out of jail? No. I honestly don't even think she should have ever been there. I think she should have been in treatment. But what's strange to me is
I don't necessarily agree with her comparing her mother to anything to do with Gypsy. I don't think that you can take your own experience having a narcissistic parent and automatically think that you have more logic about the situation with Gypsy, because to my knowledge, and I've heard this from multiple sources, Gypsy Rose is the only person who was a victim of Munchausen by proxy that killed their caregiver. And correct me if I'm wrong down below, but that is one thing. Like, Gypsy Rose's case is truly one of a kind, and I have seen people kind of trying to say, oh, well, my parents were like this. Oh, I went through this. I went through that. But that gets a little tricky because nobody went through exactly what Gypsy Rose went through.
Denied treatment while in prison. Now let's get into present times. Whenever she's asked about Nick, she essentially says that she just needs to worry about herself, and she shows zero remorse for being responsible for somebody's life sentence in prison, which is wild to me. She also reminds us over and over again that she didn't actually commit the crime, that it was him, putting all blame on him. And anytime her mother comes up, she reminds us all how much she loves and misses her mother, which is so weird to me because I hate my mother with every fiber of my being. And I understand, like, if you wanted her gone, girl, I just wish you would stand on business, because I can't fathom why you would miss her. So is this Stockholm Syndrome, or is this her PR team coaching her to say these things to make herself seem more human? And are we forgetting about the Facebook post? Because there was no remorse there, and this shit ain't adding up to me. And then after refusing therapy, she goes on to date so many men and was engaged to somebody else. Now she's married before she even steps out of that jail cell. So it screams to me that she's very unhealed, because it is very common for trauma survivors to seek fulfillment in relationships when they are not healed. And we're all over here applauding her for this, which is crazy to me, because she doesn't even know what it's like to live with somebody yet, and you're congratulating her on getting married and committing her life to somebody. She doesn't even know who she is at this point. She's never lived in the real world. And these are things you should know before you commit your life to somebody. And then there's this. I highly encourage that you look up this Facebook page. This is somebody that worked closely with Gypsy and her family for...
I haven't personally seen anything, and I haven't heard Gypsy say that she denied treatment when she was in prison. If you guys have heard that or taken in that from what Gypsy has said herself, let me know. I don't see her personally as the type of person to say, no, I don't want treatment, because from the get-go, she knew that she was abused by her mother. And I personally haven't heard her say, I denied treatment, even though she has acknowledged that she was abused by her mother. Is she blaming him, or is she just speaking as a matter of fact? Because, I mean, what is she going to say? You know what I mean? Of course she's going to say exactly what happened. His case has gone through the proper steps. She served her time. He is serving his time. So I'm not really sure how would people feel if she went on an interview or on social media and was saying how badly she felt for Nick, even though he had a well-documented past of being extremely disturbed long before this crime took place. I want to insert a little clip right here of, and I cannot remember his name, I feel like such an idiot for that, but I will insert what this individual was saying. I think that he's some kind of mental health, he might be a mental health clinician. I really don't remember, so I don't want to mislabel or anything like that, but he was talking about the likelihood of Gypsy's relationship not panning out due to her history. So I'll insert that as a little like thing right here.
I don't think that her chances of murdering again are particularly high. I think she may have some problems in her marriage. I would anticipate that her marriage is going to be a struggle because she got married when she was in prison, and she doesn't really have a strong template for healthy relationships. I mean, it's a huge flag to me that she did get married in prison. But this is someone who's always defined herself in relationship to someone else. That goes with the dependency. This is someone who cannot be alone. This is someone who needs others for validations. So in that sense, it doesn't surprise me that she's obsessed with finding a relationship in prison. She was engaged in 2019 to somebody named Ken, and he broke it off. Like she cannot exist without being in a relationship. And that, if nothing else, I would say to somebody like this, look, just step back a little bit, take some time to be alone and to figure out who you are and what you want with your life.
What do you guys think about what he just said? Drop that down below.
Years, who is now providing proof of how Gypsy is manipulative. And also,
let's read that. It says, this page used to be called By Proxy. We've been here from the start. If you watch our early stuff and read our articles or watch the documentary I did on the Reels channel, then you will know exactly where we started out. Google Fancy Malisi. Trust me, I've been here. For 3 years, I defended this family relentlessly. I bled, sweat, and teared for them. I was in every group and believed everything. My team came together because we wanted the world to know Gypsy's story in a way that wasn't told before. We wanted to help. It was all good until Ken came along. When he came in the picture, we were concerned for Gypsy. I can't read part of it because her face is over it and I don't have a Facebook page, but either way, I'll try to find the link to this page and put it down below. So if y'all have Facebook and you want to take a look, you can, but let's keep going.
Also pointing out the fact that Gypsy is still being exploited, guys. Isn't it interesting that Gypsy's stepmom didn't take interest in her before she saw the dollar signs? I just feel like if we are willing to justify murder for Gypsy, then there are a whole lot of other cases that we should be looking at. Personally, I just feel like there are a lot of other survivors of extreme childhood abuse who didn't make the choice to murder their abuser, and I don't understand why we're not platforming them instead. I just think it's super unhealthy that she went from an abusive home to prison where she received no treatment and then stepped directly out into fame. And this is what we're teaching our children to idolize? It's just weird, guys. It's weird. She is a victim. I hope that she gets the help that she needs.
So that is Local Monsters video. I want to read some of the comments, and then we're going to jump over to another video that focuses more on the celebrity of Gypsy Rose. So a couple of the comments. Somebody said, yes, girl, I 100% agree. She deserved life like Nick. Somebody else said, you ain't lying. It's her thinking she is not a murderer simply because she didn't do it. She took advantage of that boy. She should be at home healing and doing therapy instead of all of this. But it's all of our fault because as a society, we are nosy and we want to know what's going on. If there's no demand, then the media moves on to other things. She's being used by the media and doesn't even realize it. Somebody else said, if you look more into Nick, she didn't manipulate him at all. Somebody else, I don't know why people are falling for her gaslighting. Another comment, I had a bad feeling about her from the beginning too. I didn't have a bad feeling about her from the beginning, but the last 2 weeks have just been really interesting to see the amount of she was just like thrust into this world of social media, and I just don't know if it's the right place for her. Somebody else said, amen. Finally, somebody said it. Someone else, no, I agree with you. Somebody else said, her celebrity status since getting out of prison just doesn't feel right. Somebody else said, imagine if this happened to a man. Bet you none of it would be glorified. I believe what you're saying. Somebody else said, her fans get so defensive over her. I mean, Gypsy Rose definitely already has parasocially connected people that are watching her every move. That is undeniable. Somebody else said, he R'd her. Why would she feel remorse? Somebody else, I'm so glad people are finally speaking out about this. A lot of people just saying facts. A lot of people refuse to see it. Somebody else saying, I was thinking the same thing. This speaks volumes. You're not alone. A lot of us are starting to wonder. So let's go ahead and take a look at this other video. This comes from Jen Lyles, and her caption says, guys, I can't take it anymore.
15 days. That's how long Gypsy Rose has been out of prison, and exactly the amount of time it took me just to get sick of her. I wish her well. I really, really do. I think she's making up for lost time, but it's too much. It's the podcasts, it's the TV interviews, it's all the social media. Like, we don't need the photo of you in the salon with the foils in the hair. It's too much. Less is more.
So that's her thing. And I think that opinion is kind of like, I'm just sick of seeing her. I'm sitting in the seat of, I really think that this could be damaging to her on a long-term basis. A lot of people saying, my thing is, why are we putting a convicted murderer on a pedestal? People are struggling to feed their families because they are supporting her. Now she's worth $3 million. Valid, but you also got to realize she's never had freedom. It's probably really exciting and she doesn't know better. All this attention will come and go as fast as it did when she committed this crime. Out with the old, in with the new. Her husband is enjoying the media as much as her. Her husband really creeps me out. And I honestly, like, when she clapped back at that person in the comments saying that her husband's D was fire or something like that, it made me cringe so badly. Like, I get it, girl, but like, I don't know. It's just, I think that treading lightly on social media would be in her best interest. And I'm not ever going to discount what she went through because she is absolutely a victim. But I also think that the being so heavily in this social media culture is probably not the best thing. And she'll go on interviews and she'll be like, oh, well, I don't really care if people hate me, but if people come for my husband, then that's a whole different thing. I I don't necessarily believe that, because when you have millions of eyes on you and a lot of those people are calling you a murderer, saying that you're not a victim, saying that you should still be in jail, saying that, like, all of this is piling on, and you can say you don't care, but I don't necessarily know if that's gonna work out for the long-term haul of everything. And of course, people are in the comments section here saying if you don't like it, don't watch it. Like, that argument is just so boring. Then why are you on social media talking about her? You just added to her being popular. You know, the logic of these people who leave comments like this, it's just so narrow-minded and such a adolescent way to look at things. I've been hearing that for over 3 years from especially fans, people like Colleen Ballinger. Oh, if you don't like her, why are you making a video about her? Because I have a channel that's based off my opinions, and anything that happens on social media is everyone's business. As a friendly reminder, if it's happening on social media, it's a public video. Therefore, the public is allowed to give commentary on it. But whatever, that was just a little side tangent. How do you guys feel? I really want to know, is there, because I think that there's a way to like Gypsy and be here for her and wish her nothing but the best, while also acknowledging that her being so heavily thrust into this limelight and PR, and it's just a money-making machine, is also probably not in the best interest of her. And I think that's kind of where I am. But as always, I like to listen to both sides of the argument, and that's why I wanted to make this video. So that's going to be it for today. If you like the video, please leave a like in the comments. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.